Okay, then we'll just go through summary if you guys are. Okay. I'll go through all the questions that you guys did and then go through summary. So you all did under question 10, right? The person who did the least number of questions.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so let's go through
Fatty.
which is just question number 1 lah. One question only lah.
calling you.
Scam call.
It's okay, doesn't matter. Okay, so you just did one question only, right? Which is the writer uses some autonomous adventure using the content of the paragraph. What does she mean by this phrase? Okay, so let's look at this question together. So paragraph number 4. So where did he use this word?
The last line.
Okay, so let's see all the context behind it. Diverted by loud swinging rush towards the campsite, I was ecstatic. I cherish exploring at my own pace, alone in my jeep, with no one disturbing the animals and no one behind rushing me. It was a feeling of autonomous adventure. What is autonomous in this case? What are they trying to say?
It's like very
Smooth sailing, smooth sailing.
Smooth
It's like
sailing.
there's no disturbance.
Correct. So there's no disturbance. Disturbance from what?
From other people.
Other people. So autonomous means solo. Okay, that means independent. Okay, that's what autonomous means. That means her trip or adventure was undisturbed. That means she was able to solo travel or discover things at her own pace without anyone rushing her. So that is the idea behind this. And that's what all the details are saying. It's not saying about adventure or anything. It's saying about how they can adventure alone. Can? So yeah, can. So this one is for you guys then. Yeah, remaining then you have to do it homework because never do it, right? So now before I end the class, let me talk about summary, okay? So summary very easy, So let's just talk about summary. So how many marks is summary? 15 marks, okay? So how do they split the marks?
And the points.
Yeah.
7 and 8.
Yeah, correct. 7 and 8 marks. So the first one, which is your content marks, which is 8 marks, right? So 8 marks for content. Okay, how do you get 8 marks for content? How many points must you have minimum? 8 different points, okay? No, it's actually just put 9 or 10.
Oh.
9 or 10 points, right? Because why? Why I say this is because sometimes 2 points will be considered 1 point. You guys will say, oh, I have 2 points right now when the marker mark is only considered 1 point. Because why would it be 1 point? Because it's a cause and effect pair. Right? If it's a pair, it means you'll not count it as 2 points, you just count as one thing. Okay, so when it comes to your summary, right, students always lose marks because they have insufficient points. And the next thing is when they paraphrase and they fail to maintain the meaning of the point. So what do I mean by this? If you have 8 points, right, you manage to find 8 unique points. But then every single time you paraphrase a point, the meaning changes. So will that be considered a correct point or not? No. Yeah, that's why students lose most of the marks because they write a lot of stuff. But at the end of the day, everything, the meaning is not the same as it was in the passage. That is why you end up getting like 3 marks or 4 marks for your content. Right? So you must make sure your paraphrasing is very strong. So let's talk about paraphrasing and how to make sure that we do well for paraphrasing. So whenever you identify details, the first thing is we need to identify whether do I need to include this part of the answer or is this excessive? Because you waste time paraphrasing excessive stuff, what happens? Yeah, don't give you marks, right? Plus you waste words lah. Alright, okay, so you must first thing is always choose correct details. Then we already talked about it a lot of times. You only can choose correct details if we know if the detail is a action or outcome. Okay, if it's any one of this, then it is necessary. That means you have to underline and change it. If it is not an action, if it is not an outcome, do we have to use it? No need. That means it's not relevant to the question anymore. Okay, the next thing, after you choose the correct details, what must you do with this thing? You must paraphrase. So there's some ways to paraphrase, which is your word for word. Okay, word for word is just looking at one word, right? Then you just see happy, then you just change it to joyful. Okay, so what's the next method? Next method is extracting out the idea. Okay, extracting out the idea is what I recommend because what if you see phrases such as a jaw drop and eyes turn red? Can you change the word jaw? Can you change the word red? And can you change the word eyes? No, right? All these things impossible to change, correct? That's why you need to extract out the idea. Extract out the idea. You ask yourself, what does eyes turn red suggest? It means she was angry. What does jaw drop mean? It means suggesting that she was shocked. Okay? So these are 2 paraphrasing methods. But then paraphrasing not so easy. Every time you paraphrase, you must make sure that you do not lose mistakes, right? You don't lose marks or do not lose meaning while you paraphrase. Okay, so the most common thing with how students lose marks is first, they always lose intensity. Right? So when I say lose intensity, right? The passage will say Johnny was fucking angry, right? Then when you change to your paraphrase, right? Can you just say Johnny was annoyed? No, right? What's the difference? The first one say what? He was fucking angry, right? The second one I only say annoyed. So is it the same meaning? No. So will you get your marks? No. So that's your intensity. If they say damn crazy or like very little, when you paraphrase, you must have the intensifier that matches. When they say like extremely sad, they must say what? Super depressed or something along those lines, right? So they say like he was sad, can you go and say other depressed? No, right? You just say what? His mood was not right. Okay, you must maintain and match the intensity. The second thing is you must maintain your meaning lah, which is quite dumb, but this is what happens. Okay, so you cannot add in your own points. Okay, so how do you maintain your meaning? You break your evidence into smaller parts. Okay, so you see one very long sentence, right? Instead of paraphrasing the whole thing one shot, you draw a line. So you like evidence like this, right? You split it into smaller parts. Then you paraphrase part by part. Okay, so this way, right, you make sure that you do not lose any important details along the way. Okay, so you can paraphrase part by part, right? Who's that?
Woman.
Women. Okay, so this is what you're supposed to do. I'll say the paraphrase part by part, huh? By part. Okay, so as long as you do these things, you'll be getting 8 marks for your content. Okay, the next thing, your language 7 marks. Where do you get your 7 marks for language? By making sure that your writing is good, right? Okay, so the most important one is do not write in point form. Do not spam ends. Okay, no point form. Okay? No ends. Okay, these are your do nots. Then what should you do? The most important thing that markers look out for when you're writing a summary is signposting. Right? So what can you say? Instead of just saying, to actually get a girlfriend, you need to cut your hair, and then you need to shave your dick, and then you need to shower, and then you need to wear shorts maybe. And you cannot just keep saying stuff like that. Does this sound interesting or not? Sounds dumb, right? So what must you do? You can say firstly, to get a girlfriend, what must you do? You must shower, right? Secondly, you should cut your hair. Additionally, you should blah blah. Furthermore, and lastly, and etc. Right? So you see what's the difference between the first one and second one?
Connector.
Yeah, connector words and signposting. Okay, so you must always have your connector words. So this is what you should do. Connectors, right? So your essay sounds smoother. But it's not firstly, secondly, thirdly, fourthly, fifthly, additionally, furthermore, moreover. Okay? So just make sure your writing is smooth using this technique. Right? So the most, or the only thing that you can actually improve significantly is your paraphrasing. Okay? Make sure you do not lose marks. Because finding points, right? All of you can do it. But then when you find and you paraphrase, then all the marks gone already. Okay? So you need to protect your marks while paraphrasing. Okay? Yeah, so that's it for summary lah. Alright, so the remaining bit of the paper you do it, and then your paper, your marker paper I marked already. Okay, you can try to do corrections again, okay? So you go and read through the notes again, then you try again. If not next week, you still tell me which one you don't understand, or in the chat you send lah. Okay, then we go through together.